Hello everyone, so we're going to work on the multiply function in this video. It's going to be a relatively straightforward solution, so just tag along and we'll get through it. Alright, so first thing we're going to want to do is define a total. You can really call it anything you want, but I like to call it total. Uh, Keep in mind though, when you are programming, it is important to name things somewhat relevant to what they're supposed to be. So total is just going to be a representative total for this. So we're going to do this through a input validation loop. So this is kind of handling our, if the user would try to enter like a letter or something that wouldn't make sense in multiplication, this is going to handle that and basically force them to try again. So first thing we're going to need to do is create a loop. After we create the loop, we're going to go ahead and get our basic thing down. It's going to be a try, and then one tab over, and then accept. And then from there, we're going to want to figure out what we're going to do when. Excuse me. So stylistically, we're going to actually pass this, and we're just going to have it loop back through. So essentially, and then it's also going to print error right here. Error. And that's just going to say, hey, you messed up, try again. Next, we're going to want to get some input in. So we're going to do num equals int input. So it's important to note why we do this. Normal input will basically set this to be a string. We don't want a string, we want a number. So this is typecasting it immediately into an integer and storing num as an integer since this is the first time we reference it. So once we do that, we're going to want to do please enter your first number or enter 0 to exit. So the logic behind entering 0 to exit is if you multiply by 0, you get 0. So you can just get out of there by now. No one's going to want to multiply anything by 0 unless they truly don't understand math. And that's the case, your calculator's not for them. So then we're going to want to check if num is 0, then we're simply going to want to break. All right, and then out of this, we're going to want to actually set total that we defined above equal to num. All right, and then, so what this is going to do is it's going to allow us to reuse num and basically this whole segment of code right here. And then we can just boop, put it down there, and instead of that, we change this to next. So what this is going to do now is it's going to get the first number, check if it's a 0. If not, then it's going to set total equal to that number, and then it's going to take num once again and set it equal to an integer input where we're going to grab the next number, and if that one comes out to be 0, then it will also break. And then finally, after all that work, we can do total times num to get our actual answer, and then once again type out a break, and we pass print error. That should be good. Now we're going to have to actually add the functionality to the main statement. So we're just going to have to say if decision equals m, don't forget your semicolon or your colon, sorry. And then we're going to just have to call multiply. And keep in mind, it doesn't have any parameters. Nothing should be going in here. We're keeping that blank. Now we can go ahead and test her out. Would you like to use, we're going to use multiplication. We're going to enter our first number. It is worthy to note that if you're trying this wherever you're at, that this compiler is really slow. So if you enter out really fast, you can cause yourself some errors. So we're going to enter 2. And then we're going to enter our next number, which should also be 2. And it prints out 4, takes us back to the main page. We can go back into it. And we can do, if we want to get out, we're enter 0. And it takes us out of the whole program, but we will fix that down below. For now, the overall multiplication function is working.